Detective. Duck, the Deductive Detective, was sitting at his desk when the phone rang with an urgent message. Someone stole one of the cakes from the cake contest. Detective Duck is on the case. When Duck arrived, Al, the night watchman, took him to the scene of the crime. All 13 bakers were already there. Fox was sitting in a chair, sobbing, "Someone stole my beautiful cake!" "Who could have stolen it?" asked Al. Detective Duck looked at the scene and said, "One of these 12 bakers took that cake, but I'll crack this case in no time. I'll find clues that will subtract each suspect until there is just one left." "Aha!" exclaimed Duck, pointing to the remaining cakes. "Look how small that cake is."
"That's my cake,"
squeaked Mouse.
"I could make a bigger cake, or it would be too big for me to carry."
"And that is why you could not have taken the cake," explained Duck.
"But,"
said Mouse.
"and because I only like cheesecake."
"Now," said Duck, "what time was the cake stolen?" "It was taken at sunrise when I went to get breakfast," said Al. "That means you could not have taken the cake," said Duck, pointing at Rooster. "I heard you crow at sunrise this morning, so you could not have been here as well. So you're free to fly the coop." "Great," said Rooster. "I've got other things to cock-a-doodle-doo." "What about these doors?" asked Duck, pointing to the double doors at the front of the room. "Were they still locked when the cake was stolen?" "Of course. Who else would have keys?" replied Al. "Then Elephant is not our thief," said Duck, "since the only way he can fit into this room is through these two doors." "Well, that's because I'm royalty," said Elephant. "I come from a long line of two doors." "And what's this?" said Duck, as he looked at the table of cakes. "It looks like a strand of hair," said Al. "Oh, and look, there's some more over by the kitchen. Who could have left them?" "Certainly not Swan," said Duck. "Swans have feathers, not hair. So that means Swan is not our thief." "Of course," said Swan. "The only thing I've ever stolen is the spotlight in Swan Lake." "It looks like our thief escaped through the kitchen," said Duck, as he followed the strands of hair across the floor. "It looks dark in there. Have those lights been off all night?" Yes," answered Al. "But one of our suspects would never go into a dark room alone," said Duck, "which is why Horse is free to race home." "It's true," said Horse. "I'm not a dark horse." "Now, let's shed some light on the case," said Duck, as he opened the kitchen doors and turned on the lights. "Look at all those pots and pans hanging from the ceiling." "Who knew we had so many pots and pans in here?" asked Al. "And not one of them has been knocked off, which means our big antlered friend Moose has not been through here lately." "That's right," said Moose. "I haven't been here since I finished my chocolate mousse cake." "Look, they're on the floor," observed Duck. You mean that spilled flour?" asked Al. "Yes," replied Duck. "Our thief spilled a bag of flour and dragged his long tail through it." "But Pig doesn't have a long tail," said Duck, "so she could not have hogged the cake." "I don't know why I even entered this contest," said Pig. "Nothing good ever happens when I'm baking." Still my favorite one. "The trail of flour leads here," said... Oh, try again. "Trail of flour leads here," said Al, pointing to the counter. "Which means whoever took the cake jumped up here before they left," explained Duck. "But that's too high to jump," said Duck, "if you're a cow. So cow is free to move along home." "I probably shouldn't mention this," said Cow, "but my great-grandmother once jumped over the moon." "This window must be how he escaped," said Duck. "Who?" asked Al. "The thief," answered Duck. and he left a handprint on the sill on the way out. This tells me that Tiger could not be our thief, said Duck, because tigers have paws, not hands. And I have claws on my paws, said Tiger. That's why I always bake from scratch. Look at that window, said Duck. What about it? Asked Al. That's a pretty small space to crawl through, answered Duck, especially if you're a kangaroo. Therefore, Kangaroo is free to hop along home. Now I can go clean up, said Kangaroo. My Joey's all doughy. Now, where does the trail go from here? Asked Duck, looking out the window. It's odd that there are no footprints on the ground, noticed Al. Which means our thief must have swung from tree to tree to get away, said Duck, which is very difficult to do if you're a raccoon. Of course, I'm the last one ruled out, said Raccoon. Just because I have a mask, everyone thinks I'm the thief. That means our thief could only be the monkey, said Duck, pointing to the thief. The only question I have left is, why did you steal the cake?
I couldn't help it,
said Monkey, as Al grabbed his arm.
It was a banana cream cake.
The end. And for those of you, oh, thank you. And for those of you with little ones until the last 2 pages have a section for creative minds on how to talk about deductive reasoning and subtraction and other math skills.